I want to ask you about the most important issue facing Armenian community lately. I don't want people to get us wrong because I don't mind like if the government or some influencers like Nick Shirley or Dr. Oz or J.D. Vance going like after criminals, people who committed crime or committed fraud. But main narrative is like there is an Armenian mafia in California or in LA, and they all are like repeating the same sentence, Armenian mafia. Is there such a thing like Armenian mafia? If there are some criminals, I don't mind. They can just go and expose and prosecute them. But why are they telling the people who don't know anything about this, there is an Armenian mafia committing medical fraud in LA?
Well, I think it's been like a pattern, I would say, of Dr. Oz of attacking the Armenian community. It is a civil rights violation. The only motive is to paint the Armenian community in a bad light. The Armenian community, as we know, we are Armenian. We are small business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we're builders. And we have been actively also engaged more in politics than before. And I think that the attempt is to kind of silence us and make us look like we're, bad business owners because we've had that reputation. And it's just fallen into a stereotype. The stereotype that we've always dealt with has been that we are, part of a mafia, just like the Russian mafia. And that's just ignorance overall, not understanding our community and also targeting our community because of their personal bias. I think Oz has a personal bias against the Armenian community because of his relationship with Turkey and Azerbaijan.
He's a Turkish citizen.
Yeah, so he...
And a good friend of Erdogan who spends a lot of money to destroy the Armenian community in the United States.
Yeah, because the loudest and the biggest opposition to Erdogan is not the country of Armenian leadership, it's the diaspora in the United States. And so who better than his own to come and attack us? And of course, California respond. We filed a civil rights complaint against it because it was unfound and it was just on bad merits and profiling a community. It has impacted business owners because of their attacks on our community. And overall, I would just say that we need to really ask the people, we need to reflect on who is telling who is doing fraud. Dr. Oz represents an agency that is supposed to deal with Medicare fraud, and yet under his own administration, he has allowed billions of dollars of fraud to happen with people around his circle, where the Trump administration has pardoned time and time again. There was a $1.3 billion fraud from, I believe his name is Philip Esmore, and they pardoned him. There was another multi-million-dollar fraud with a wellness care center for behavioral health, and the list goes on and on. So I would say that overall, as somebody who's an agency head for one of the most powerful countries, it's his responsibility to take those cases to the court and prosecute individuals that are doing fraud and not put it out for public opinion. And I believe that what Nick is doing is he's their puppet. He's being paid and sponsored by the GOP and Dr. Oz to go out to ratify and basically say that what he was saying, because when he came out here, we debunked him. The state debunked him. So what did he do? He sent his minion to come and do staged fake situations to verify what Dr. Oz was trying to assume.
I want you to clarify this because some people might get impression that we're supporting fraud or whatever. No, it's not about that. Like we're not protecting people who are committing fraud. If there are some people with the Armenian last name and they committed fraud, I totally agree they can be like exposed and prosecuted. But what we are talking, like they are targeting Armenian community for other reasons, like you said, Dr. Oz, a citizen of Turkey, good relationship with Erdogan. They spend a lot of money to blame Armenians for something they don't do it. And you said there is a list. Can you
so Philip Esmore,
some more details?
Sure.
Did it happen during this administration?
This happened during the Trump administration, and most of these have happened under Dr. Oz's leadership. So Philip Esmore, for example, he was convicted of doing 1.3 billion.
Which state does he represent?
I think this was these are all federal.
Federal.
These are all federal. These are all federal prosecutions. Philip Esmore did $1.3 billion.
So they are convicted.
They're all convicted.
Yeah.
$1.3 billion, and he was pardoned. He got 20-year sentence, and he was pardoned in 2026, full pardon, by Trump administration. Solomon Melgen in Florida, eye doctor, he was Medicare fraud of $73 million, and he was pardoned, or his sentence was commuted in 2021. Judith Negron, $205 million, Medicare fraud scheme involving mental health centers. He was sentenced to 35 years, and Trump commuted him in 2020. WellCare executives, they did hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud, the executive, and Trump pardoned all of the executives. Faustino Bernadette, a hospital owner in California who was pardoned after being convicted in a $900 million kickback scheme. So these are just to name a few of the Medicare fraud that's happening nationally, where these numbers are nowhere near the peanuts that we're talking about. If you
and
really
I
take this to court.
Add one more example. Like recently, a few days ago, I read there is a guy, Azerbaijani origin, who committed $90 million fraud in California. But I'm waiting to see like when Dr. Oz is gonna tell this is Azeri mafia.
He won't.
Or whatever. Then one day are gonna prosecute this guy.
He will not, because that doesn't fit into his narrative of making Armenians look like we do fraud. His attempt is to make us look like we are bad players in Medicaid and Medicare, and that we are not business owners, that we are not a credible community. So that,
But that's wrong. And
of course, it's absolutely wrong, and we'll fight him all the way to the end, and we will file every civil rights complaint against him. We have to be as engaged as possible, and every one of those owners that they're knocking on their doors, they're doing fraud. Nick is doing fraud. I would take him to court for videotaping them. I would take him to court for defamation. There's a legal system that we should...
He doesn't know what is he doing. Like, he doesn't know he's like being played by Dr. Oz's like Turkish narrative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's getting paid. Yeah. So let's call it what it is.
Thank you so much, Astine. Thank you.